Hi everyone, my name is Caroline Lee, and in this presentation, I'll walk you through my analysis of gender ratio using RStudio. For the data, I use data about the gender ratio of mean years in school, women as a percentage of men. In the data, there are various different countries, and it's from 1970 to 2015. So the first step is to print the structure of the data frame. I inserted the file path and printed the gender data, as you can see here. So the first task is about data structures. The first one is numeric. In this case, I basically just printed the gender ratio of 2015. And for character, I just printed out the country names for all the data. And for logical, I printed out the gender ratio that are below 50 for the year 2015 to consider them as a low gender ratio. And as you can see, if it's true, it is below 50. If it's false, then it's not below 50. And the next one is to create a vector. In this case, I extracted the gender ratio for Kenya across all the years. And then for matrix, I created a matrix of gender ratio for all the countries, but only from 2010 to 2015. Next, moving on to data frame, I created a data frame of countries with a gender ratio below 70%, only for 2015. And those are the countries. And then next, I combine all into a list like this. I listed out the total countries, which are 188, and the year range, which is 1970 and 2015. And then I also printed the gender summary, gender ratio summary of the countries that have a low ratio. So the next task is about operation and function. The first one, I perform an arithmetic operation where I calculated the difference between 2015 and 2010. And then I added it as a new column. And the next one is logical operation, which I found out if the countries improved their gender ratio between 2010 and 2015. In this case, it can be seen that only those countries improved. And the next one is statistical operation, where I found the mean, median, and standard deviation for the year 2015. And the next one is to create at least one custom function that solves a specific analytical problem. In this case, it's about which countries have improved their gender ratio consistently from 2010 to 2015. It says that character bracket 0, which means that none of the countries have gender ratios that increase every single year from 2010 to 2015. The third task is about control flow. In this case, I implemented conditional statements. For the first one, it's to check if the gender ratio in 2010 is above 80. In this case, it would be considered high. If it's not, then it is moderate or low. And then, as you can see, when I printed it out, it said that the average gender ratio in 2015 is considered high. And the next one is vectorized condition, where I categorize each country as high or low based on whether its gender ratio in 2015 is greater than or equal to 80. And the next one, I demonstrated loop. The first one is using a for loop to print countries with a high label. And the next one is error handling. If it's 2015, then it will work because the data is until 2015. But if it's 2099, it won't work because it's not included in the data, and so it will show a error message. So the fourth task is data input and output. The first one, I had to first load the libraries, and then I imported the Excel data set to check the structure. And so the fifth task is simple data analysis. The first one, I perform a summary statistics on the data. As you can see here, for each year, there is the minimum, first quartile, median, mean, and third quartile, and the maximum value. And then I applied the appropriate analytical techniques. The first one, I filtered the countries with scores above 80 in 2015. And the next one is aggregation, where I calculated the average gender ratio for all the years and made it into a diagram. And as you can see from the diagram, it can be seen that the average gender ratio has increased over time from 1970 to 2015. This indicates gradual improvement globally. And in 2015, a significant number of countries scored above 80%. This suggests that many nations have reached high levels of gender parity. And also these improvements suggest that policy efforts, education, and advocacy has also improved. And the sixth task is about visualization. In this case, I made a distribution plot for 1970 and 2015. Comparing these two, it can be seen that the diagram for 2015 shows a shift towards higher gender ratios, as you can see. And so this indicates that more countries improved their gender equality scores compared to 1970. And so that's all for my analysis using RStudio. Thank you for watching.